Hi, my name is Syed. I'm Austin. Jason. Alvin. Trey. We're Team Vibrant, and our project this quarter is to work with the company AppFolio to create a web application for leasers to find people to rent their place, and also for renters to find a suitable housing for them.
So what we do is AppFolio gave us a huge XML file that you can see here, and it's actually 133 megabytes, and we had to figure out how to go through this and how to put it in the database in a meaningful way. So that was a big part of our project, was to parse this, and once we had it in the database, we could start building our Ruby application. So as you saw last sprint, we had some listings showing, but we didn't have a real way to organize that. So we've added on some front end since then, and the main features we added was searching, which makes it more beneficial to see units in a certain city. So as you can see here, we can search by headline, content, city, state, and price range. So for example, if we looked in Santa Barbara, yeah. Now we're filtering on Santa Barbara, and we can submit, and you're going to see all homes that are in Santa Barbara. This is definitely my favorite. I really like that view in that house. And if you want to see more, you can click on it, and it'll give you the rest of the pictures right now.
So we're just basically limiting the number of pictures that are shown on the main page, so it doesn't clutter it so much.
Okay, and so we added this Elasticsearch thing. Jason, you want to talk about Elasticsearch?
Yeah, for Elasticsearch, for those of you that don't know, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Solar or Spin or anything like that, Elasticsearch is kind of like an alternative to those two. What it does is, I guess it just simplifies common search things that you want to do, a lot of functionality that would otherwise be very difficult to write yourself. Is some of that is implemented for us, and what Trey was showing on the right here are what are called facets, which allow you to narrow down your search, and it shows you the number of units that apply to the search that you're going for.
Yeah, so it's really useful.
So you narrow down what you're doing.
Yeah, you narrow it down, and it shows even how many listings have that. So,
right, so it's very narrowed down right now.
Right, it's very narrowed down.
Because every time you press the button, it retains the current query and then appends the next filter. So you continue to narrow down your results. You don't have to press the button again to narrow the feature you already selected.
Oh, right.
Sure. So this is the production version of the site. Notice how the search bar is missing. So the production version is slightly less up to date than the development version, which has every latest feature that we've been developing. But since those features are new and stuff, they aren't as fully tested, and we need time to bring it to the production server.
We had some issues with getting Elasticsearch set up on Roku, so we're working on that right now.
It's going to cost money because it's more data than we thought. So we're getting that paid for it.
Correct. And the reason for all of this is that so we have the development and production separated, so it's very.
I'm just curious, how much money do you
$50 a month.
Right.
About. That's
Yeah.
what we've
We
calculated.
have about 40,000 units in there, and I guess maybe like 500,000 pictures. There's a lot of data to indexers, so services are free.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. Anyways, the point of this was to show you that we have our development and production very separated, and the production version is always working and never broken. Whereas sometimes development might have a few bugs or something because we're still playing with it. So that's our process for getting things up to production.
We also have user authentication built in, so sign-in registration. I forgot your password, that sort of things all implemented as well.
Right, because so next quarter, what we're focusing on is going to be adding more features that hit APIs that kind of differentiate us from Craigslist. Because right now we pretty much made something similar to Craigslist in functionality, but next quarter is all about, we're going to add walk score, hit Google Maps API to find traffic around you, and lots of different functionality that will be have users come to ours. I don't know. What email do you use?
Yeah.
Do you know what emails are in the database?
I'm not actually sure.
Okay.
It doesn't, I mean, there's not much functionality here to show, but.
Once you log in, you don't gain or lose any features. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
in place
Yeah.
for the future.
You can also sign that. So always, yeah, I'll elaborate on these features as we get into it. That's about it.
Any questions?
There are many other sites similar to this. How do you differentiate yourselves from
So
them?
we just talked about that just now. Trey just talked about.
Yeah.
So we're planning to integrate like more APIs. So like such as Google, such as the Google APIs to integrate maps, traffic. We're integrating we want to integrate walk score. So we just want to give a lot more features than the other websites. Because right now, like for example, like Craigslist, it's just basically you post a listing, you have a picture, you have a description, and here's my number. Call me if you're interested.
And Craigslist is currently like the most popular site, and it's not intended for use for housing in particular. It's intended as a broad platform to sell anything basically. So we're trying to narrow that down into a specific site specifically for houses, and hopefully be able to offer more features that are useful than the features that Craigslist offers, because it doesn't intend to sell strictly houses.
Do you have plans to offer users the ability to connect with the home seller or the realtor or anything like that to take you away from your app, or are you going to integrate it into
So
yours?
we're going to make it similar to the Craigslist and current, like a lot of messaging systems work, is that where we don't actually show their email. If a user wants to send an email to the seller, they do it through our website, and then if the seller decides to reply, then they're like connected. So like it's just a barrier against spam, I guess. We don't want to leak their emails.
It's simply a relaying service that you send our server queries into that intent.
And we also intend to add some features that are inspired from our experience in Isla Vista, looking for housing and kind of like the struggle and all of the obstacles you face trying to find housing out here, and add some features such as maybe appending your name to a listing so that if you're looking for a house and you only have yourself and you're looking for roommates, you can find a group of people to live with you potentially. Yeah, so some things like that that are more specific to Isla Vista as our starting platform for the product.
And so then, does this include rentals also, or is this just homes for sale right now?
Is there only rental?
Yeah, these are the rentals that Appfolio provided us with, a huge XML feed. Obviously, users will be able to submit their own units or leasers, I think. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Other questions? Question. So what do you think is the biggest technical hurdle that you'll face next?
In my opinion, it would be, I guess, integrating with some of these APIs. For example, I guess we mentioned WalkScore, obviously kind of know what it is from the name. But some of the APIs take a little work to integrate with, especially our kind of application, as well as some of them are paid services. So I think getting access to those APIs and figuring out how they work and integrating them would probably be the hardest challenge. It's the most important challenge as well.
Another thing would be that some of the filtering we're trying to do isn't strictly just numbers that we can pull from some API. We might have to derive like useful information from the information we get from the API in order to create a useful filter, such as like noise level. I don't think there's any API we can hook into for noise, so we'll have to kind of calculate that noise based on the surrounding area, something like that.
Yeah, maybe something with traffic, we'll need to make calculations too. And also just a lot of the, we're going to have a lot of features implemented for the user, such as being able to like a unit and keep an eye on that unit, and just features across the top where maybe we can monetize this by having a manager pay and their ad will be featured on the top of our page, something like that. But there's plenty of features that we can add to this.
Certainly. I mean, yeah, I mean, there are a lot, I definitely agree, there's a lot of features that you can add to it. I really like this idea of taking something that's provided from an API and then adding your own value on top of it by combining the scores together or combining multiple results from multiple APIs. You know, like, okay, the police reports, you know, can I take something from that and estimate something about the neighborhood that I'm in based on that? You know, I think there's a lot you could do, but sort of adding up, not just, I agree, interfacing to all these APIs is difficult, but then adding your own sort of special secret sauce on top of that would be also really help to distinguish it from just, oh, we took these APIs and I present the data to you in this spot. You know, it's like an extra Other comments?
Right.
All right.